All right, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Simply Cyber's First Things First, your morning cybersecurity threat briefing. We're giving you hot takes on today's current cybersecurity stories. I'm Gerald Auger, your host, but you guys are all chat and you make the stream, amazing every single day. So thank you very much. Good to see you, not only IT, Bren Duran. I see you from New York. Hey, Rob, what's up, man? Got the jams. I figured out the music, right, guys? I figured it out. Hey, Bryant, what's up, man? Harden, good to see you. Hey, Kimberly. So if you're new here, really quick, when that timer gets to 0, we're going to start the show. If you're watching on replay, you might want to just scrub right to that 000, because all we're doing for the next couple minutes is saying good morning, getting our coffee, getting our tea. Hey, Pamela, what's up? Bill Green, you got it, Missouri. You know it. Hey, James, always a pleasure to see you. Hey, Michael, coming in from LinkedIn. Love it. Oh, yeah. Coffee is good today, people. I'm on my second cup. Hey, Chinri, always nice to see you. Good morning. Good morning. Guys, really quick, some of you may know this, some of you may not. If you are enjoying the conversation, right, and you want to continue it, consider going over to our Discord server. It's absolutely free. And a lot of the people that are in chat also are active in the Discord server. So it's quite a community. It's very inclusive. It's very safe. You know, I think Jess Bishop said it best yesterday on LinkedIn, where she said it's an area that you can ask questions and, you know, get answers and not be like, there's no toxicity going on over there. Again, so simplycyber.io Discord, share it with a friend. And if you want to know about the upcoming live streams, until I can figure out a better way to do these first things first, if you go to this URL, it will just dump you right into the upcoming live streams on the Simply Cyber YouTube channel, which is where we're hosting this from. Although you can be watching this on Facebook, Twitch, LinkedIn. It all kind of points to the YouTube channel. Bulletproof coffee, you got it. Is that the one with butter in it, Michael? I've heard about that. Hey, Tom, thanks for being here. Good to see you. BSEC, always nice. Let me know. Let me know about the music, people. We're gonna be dabbling with different ambiances for the morning intro music thing. This is Stream Beats by Harris Heller. The name of this song is Warm Snow, which I don't know if I'll ever play this again based on that name. Hey, good morning. Hey, Scott Bush. Oh, thanks, Scott. Yeah, I appreciate it. Lots of coffee, my friend. Lots of coffee and just a true passion for the information security industry and the community at large. God, that coffee's good. I really just need to hook it up directly to my veins. You know what I'm saying? That's what I got to get going. All right, guys. As some of you may know, and some of you do not know, but for those who don't know, we are running this show in conjunction with CISOseries.com. And by in conjunction, they know about it because I asked, but they're not affiliated with Simply Cyber. It's just we leverage their podcast every morning in order to facilitate the show. So if you want to, if you don't like me, that's fine. You can still get your morning threat briefing on CISOseries.com under Cybersecurity Daily Headlines. Okay, so let's get into it.
From the CISO series, it's Cybersecurity Headlines.
It's Wednesday, February 9th, 2022. DOJ arrests New York couple seizing $3.6 billion in
billion.
The Justice Department has seized a record total $3.6 billion in cryptocurrency tied to the 2016 hack of Bitfinex virtual currency exchange, which resulted in the transfer of 120,000 Bitcoin to the attacker's digital wallet. Federal agents arrested Ilya Dutch Lichtenstein and his wife, Heather Morgan, in Manhattan in connection with the crime. Investigators were able to trace the stolen funds through thousands of transactions to over a dozen accounts linked to Lichtenstein, Morgan, or their businesses. From there, the couple converted the Bitcoin to cash using Bitcoin ATMs and by purchasing gold, NFTs, and Walmart gift cards.
All right. Hey, so check it out. I want to give a shout out to Charles Finfrock.
I'm a crypto evangelist. I love it, love it, love it.
Okay, so if you guys don't know Charles Finfrock, he's a friend of the show. Some of you may know him. He's a Bitcoin expert, a cryptocurrency expert. And basically, this is really an interesting story. This couple was arrested for stealing basically 120,000 Bitcoins, which equals 3.6 billion, which is mind blowing. And the thing that I find most interesting about this, people think cryptocurrency is anonymous. It is not. It's just your identity is associated with a wallet, right? Or many wallets, because these people obviously were somewhat smart and tried to wash their money effectively. But the ledger, a Bitcoin ledger, the blockchain, it remembers. That's the entire value of a blockchain. So if you guys aren't in the crypto space, that's fine, no big deal. The blockchain, it is a permanent ledger that's immutable. You cannot modify it. So the second the money gets taken from someone's wallet illegitimately and placed into another wallet, you can follow it, and it is straight breadcrumbs. There's no little squirrels eating the breadcrumbs along the way. And these people got busted. And I love that the way that they had to cash it out, because you have to cash out, right? Exactly, Kimberly. You have to cash out at some point. Bitcoin isn't currency that you can just use. I mean, you can somewhat, but not really. And they were going to ATMs, getting Walmart gift cards, trying to cash out. How many Walmart gift cards do you need to get to cash out $3.6 billion? That's what I'm thinking. So these people definitely going to jail. And it's an indicator of why, crypto isn't totally anonymous. I'm not saying how I would have done it, but, I may have gone to a country and moved permanently to a country without extradition and then cashed out. But that's, whatever. That's just another thing.
Sees 50% drop in compromises after 2SV enrollment. Back
Yeah.
in May 2021, Google announced plans to auto-enroll users into two-step verification, or 2SV, in order to secure accounts from compromised credential attacks. On Tuesday, Gwemi Kim, Google's director for account security and safety, indicated that Google has successfully auto-enabled 2SV for over 150 million people and have required another 2 million YouTube creators to enable it. Kim noted that they have seen a 50% decrease in account compromise for 2SV enrollees compared to those who have yet to enroll.
Okay, first of all, thank you, Google, for being a responsible, I don't want to say corporate partner, but like responsible big tech, where you put the end users, oh, it's so inconvenient, I'm going to switch platforms, aside and forced people into 2FA. Now, I am a YouTube creator, obviously. I was already involved, so when they forced it, it didn't affect me. But they were targeting high value clients. I don't know how they had determined that. Of course, I'll answer that question in a second, Tom. The high value targets, Google has your data, so maybe they figured out some way to figure that out, like journalists and politicians and celebrities and stuff like that. But the fact, like, clip this article. If anyone is pushing back on implementing MFA in your environment, look at this article. It literally says that it's I don't want to listen. It says if you put 2FA in, there's a dramatic decrease in the amount of compromises happening. It has to be standard. It has to be standard. I don't know why Google didn't just make everybody. I get that some people, it's going to be a bit of a lift, but now that they've done that much and demonstrated with quantitative evidence that it is effective at reducing risk, which we all knew in the community, why not push it further? And why not make it a standard? Like no one complains that they have to have a password on their account. Just make it 2FA, and in 6 months, a year, it'll be standard and everyone will know it. And then our kids will grow up and they'll be like, what do you mean you didn't have 2FA? What? How's that even possible? Okay, so to Tom's question about 2FA versus MFA, it is not, there's no difference, right? They're kind of synonymous. The only difference you could say is that 2FA would be 2 factors of authentication. You can have more than 2 factors of authentication, right? You can have multiple. This is like an academic exercise. There are only 3 types of authentication you can have, right? These are buckets: something you are, something you have, something you know. Something you know is like a password. Something you have is like a card, like a CAC card. And something you are is biometrics, your eyes, your thumbprints, or something like that. Any form of authentication is going to fall into one of those 3 buckets, right? Something you have, the 6-digit thing on your app. Something you are, your palm print, your iris, your voice recognition, which I've only seen in movies. and something you know, right? That's why you don't share your password, because you know it and no one else does. Okay, enough with the textbook exercise. Good job, Google. I love it.
Puma employee data stolen as a result of Kronos attack. December's ransomware attack against Kronos systems has affected employees at Puma, one of the largest sportswear brands and one of Kronos' biggest clients. Hackers broke into Kronos' private cloud and stole data before encrypting it, despite it being secured through firewalls, multi-factor authentication, and encrypted data transmissions. In a filing with the Maine Attorney General, Kronos said personal data of 6,632 individuals, including affected Puma employees, was stolen during the attack. Kronos is offering free credit monitoring and identity insurance services to victims of the breach.
Okay. So if you guys don't know this really quickly, Kronos is it's like an outsourced time card system, right? So like if your employees have to punch in and punch out, and you don't want to manage that in-house, you can use Kronos, and it's like a SaaS product to do that for you. And I think they might do payroll and other stuff like that. So huge amounts of PII, social security numbers, et cetera, et cetera. They were ransomwared at the end of 2021. And apparently data was also exfiltrated, which, by the way, is kind of like the norm nowadays. Those threat actors, they like to double dip. You can pay to get your data back, and you can pay not to have us release your data. They are going to get their money. Threat actors are financially motivated, and they're smart. So, this is just one of those things where it shows you, this is a great example, actually, where it shows you that just because you are super secure, right? Hold on. Somebody cue Neil Bridges. Just because you are super secure does not mean that third-party risk isn't a thing. Puma could have had state-of-the-art $100 million security program for their 6,000 employees, which is absurd. And this hack still would have happened, because once you outsource something like your time card management, you are basically taking the security of the third party. You're transferring that responsibility and accountability. Now, they did say in the article that Kronos had firewalls and multi-factor authentication and stuff like that. I haven't done the analysis to see how they were breached. My suspicion would be phishing email led to initial compromise, led to post-exploitation, led to ransomware, if I had to guess. But long story short, third-party risk management, it's a thing. It's a thing. And you just have to account for it in your threat modeling.
Vodafone Portugal 4G and 5G services hit with cyber attack. Vodafone Portugal announced on Tuesday that it was hit by a cyber attack that caused network disruptions across the country. In a statement, the company said its 4G and 5G network, fixed voice, television, SMS, and voice digital answering services were affected by the attack, which they discovered Monday night. Vodafone said it has already recovered mobile voice and data services on the 3G network for almost the entire country, but is still working to recover its other services. Vodafone contacted law enforcement and is conducting its own internal investigation to determine how the breach occurred. And now, a word.
Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so two things occur to me here, and slightly inspired by part of what's written in the article. Okay, so Vodafone Portugal, I'm thinking they're like, T-Mobile, they're like Verizon, AT&T in the United States, right? They control the network, right? Like how our phones work and all this other stuff in Portugal. Okay, so they're hit. You might well consider this critical infrastructure, because first responders may not get the call. People can't call 911 potentially, right? I don't know if it says 4G, 5G network, TV, SMS. So I don't know if 3G LTE was still up, but let's just assume for the sake of this discussion that you bring down cellular network. So people cannot make phone calls, people cannot Google things, which is inconvenient. But if your house is on fire and you can't call 911, that's a much different problem than not being able to Google Vanderpump Rules, no spoilers. Okay. So this is interesting. What I want to say about this, that, I want you guys to think through this a bit, is why would someone want to do this, right? Maybe it is a hacktivist doing an ideology because Vodafone's in bed with the ruling party and it's a political activist thing. Or maybe ATMs, banking systems, gas pumps, if these things like red box rentals, they all have a cellular antenna on top, and they're all communicating over a network for services, right? So if you take that down, what does an ATM do when it cannot communicate? Like these remote ATMs that have cellular connections, what do they do when their network goes down? It like, does it fall into some weird fringe situation, and then maybe someone knew about that and they could attack it without the ATM notifying anyone, because the ATM's blasting out, I'm under attack, I'm being robbed, and it's literally going into a loop back because it's just hitting local host. I don't know. But thinking through what is the potential, and thinking more complicated than just kind of smash and grab type stuff is interesting. I'm glad they're back up. It sucks that they went down. It highlights the severity of critical infrastructure, specifically around the communication piece of it all.
From our sponsor, Datadog.
Nope.
DatadogHQ.com/CISO. Canadian NetWalker ransomware crook pleads guilty to $1 million crimes. Sebastian Vakins Desjardins of Gatineau, Ottawa, who used NetWalker ransomware to attack 17 organizations, has been sentenced to 6 years and 8 months in prison after pleading guilty to 5 criminal charges in Ontario's Court of Justice. Vakins Desjardins had $30 million Canadian in cash and Bitcoin when the police raided his house. Canadian court documents revealed that the defendant had been hired by 10 to 15 unknown individuals to teach them his methods. The judge ordered that organizations that fell victim to the attacks be paid 5 to 6 figure sums in restitution.
Okay, a couple things here. One, this guy's getting his just desserts, so good for him. Second, really quick as an aside, this dude's name is like a Bond villain name. I love it. Sebastian Vachon Desjardins, like of Gatineau. That's a Bond villain name. I like it. Okay, so as far as this goes, a couple things. One, it says that he was teaching people how to commit this crime. So business to business service, right? So he's teaching his techniques. I'm not surprised there, right? Like if there's a market and you have a skill that you want to teach, much like how I'm eventually going to put out this GRC course that I've been teasing for a little bit. Not surprising that this is happening. I'm glad they caught him. Dude, $30 million is not a bad payday. Screwing over 17 organizations is not good. I'd be curious. He got 80 months. So here's a risk reward question. Would you risk, what is that, 5-6 years? It's like seven times 12, 84. So it's just short of 7 years. I don't know how Canada works. Maybe it's 5 with good service or something. Would you risk 5 years, not guaranteed to get it, but would you risk 5 years for $30 million? I don't know. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. But it's just an interesting, like, what's the actual penalty? I'm glad that the victims are going to get made whole again. Another interesting thing, and this is something to put into your not threat model, but you can add this to your slides when you're briefing management. It says some of the scripts and exploit tools were copied directly from GitHub repos. I bet you a lot of them were. A lot of these tools, people, they're not like elite 0-day, buy it off the dark web, meet in an alley and do crypto exchanges and then get handed a thumb drive with like evil on it. Like, a lot of these tools are quite accessible. I mean, Cobalt Strike is a red team post exploitation framework that's quite awesome. And bad guys use it all the time because it is awesome. So, the tools are out there, the capabilities are out there, and the level of sophistication that a threat actor needs to be able to execute on these is going down and down, meaning there's more people who are able to execute these attacks because the level of sophistication is lowered because there's a lot of point and click. I mean, you got to have some idea what you're doing, but then don't worry because Sebastian's going to teach you. He's running a clinic every other Thursday down at the Y on how to commit ransomware. Good. He's arrested. Okay. Next story.
ExpressVPN offering $100,000 to hack its servers.
Whoa.
On Tuesday, ExpressVPN announced that they are offering a $100,000 bug bounty to an ethical hacker who identifies critical vulnerabilities in Trusted Server, which is a custom-built operating system based on Debian Linux, featuring proprietary security enhancements that make it ideal for use in VPN infrastructure. The first person to submit a valid vulnerability granting unauthorized access or exposing customer data will receive the one-time bounty. According to the company, quote, "This is the highest single bounty offered on the BugCrowd platform and 10 times higher than the top reward previously offered by ExpressVPN," end quote.
Okay, so this is a boutique bug bounty program that ExpressVPN is running for themselves outside. It looks like outside of like HackerOne or BugCrowd. Good. This is how you like find bugs, real bugs in your system. Like they basically have crowdsourced an entire community of security researchers to hammer them. If I had to guess, I'm gonna put $20 on this. This thing gets popped within like a week. That is way too juicy a bounty, 100K, and there are really, really good security researchers out there who can do these type of things. For 100 grand to the first attacker, people are going to go buck wild up on this thing. It's too bad. I wish that they had outlined what second and third place was. Maybe some kind of like tiers that go down. Maybe they do and they didn't cover it in the story, but they're going to have a lot of people looking at this. And, you know, I know that they probably engineered it really securely, but security researchers are really smart people and they do really good work. And if you just look at the Pwn to Own, if you Google that, Pwn, PWN2 Own, OWN, Pwn to Own contest, that's basically a contest where they bring in security researchers and they give them a new piece of technology, right? The newest iPhone. And like during the day, they break into it. Like these people are amazing in how quickly they can break tech and find bugs and vulnerabilities and stuff like that. So I'm just happy that ExpressVPN, I think honestly that bug bounties and vulnerability disclosure programs are absolutely the best way to, you know, harden applications and systems to be better, right? Like we're seeing the DoD do it on hack a satellite or hack the Pentagon or hack the Air Force, right? Like these controlled programs are awesome, and they really go. I'll give them the credit, okay? I'll give people credit who kind of dump on GRC. This bug bounty approach is going to find way more nuanced vulnerabilities than, you know, using a NIST framework or going against, you know, some type of hardening guidelines. Yes, those are really good, and they set the bottom, they set your base, but the things that you're going to find with bug bounty and vulnerability disclosure programs are much more nuanced, and there's no compliance checklist that's going to protect you from that. Oftentimes you're doing what you're supposed to do, and it's some like obscure thing that just gets overlooked.
No critical bugs for Microsoft February Patch Tuesday. Microsoft's February 2022 Patch Tuesday release includes just 51 patches and is noteworthy because none of them are rated critical. Microsoft's releases address CVEs in Windows components, Azure Data Explorer, Kestrel Web Server, Microsoft Edge Chromium-based, Windows Codex Library, Microsoft Dynamics GP, Microsoft Office, Windows Hyper-V Server, SQL Server, Visual Studio Code, and Microsoft Teams. Among these, Microsoft addressed one zero-day, a Windows kernel elevation of privilege vulnerability tagged as CVE-2022-21989. Also notable, one of the updates this month is for a CVE first published in 2013.
All right, guys, no critical bugs for February. Let's call it. Let's start an early weekend, guys. I think we're done. Let's get out of here. Seriously, you don't see this very often. Microsoft's always got critical bugs. You know, this is cool. Like as a security community, at least we get to exhale for a hot minute. But chances are you're still applying January's patches, which had several critical bugs. So, you know, just this is an interesting development that there's no criticals, but it doesn't change the way that we execute, right, guys? We should have a vulnerability management program. We should be working with our infrastructure brethren on rolling out patches, vetting patches, doing it in a controlled way so we don't have operational disruption, but we are maintaining patch compliance. And it's a whole other topic. We could do a whole live stream on why vulnerability management is tough and why you can't patch everything. In fact, we did a show with Dave Klein a couple weeks ago on you can't patch all the things, because if you're a security person take this. This is a nugget of knowledge to take if you're early in your career. If you're a security person, you can't just tell infrastructure to patch their crap. You will lose credibility with them. You need to tell them to patch, obviously, but you have to expect that they're not going to be able to patch everything, and then have creative solutions on risk reduction. Maybe you do network segmentation. Maybe you stick a Raspberry Pi firewall right in line between that Windows XP machine and your main network. Guys, it's 2022, but there are Windows XP machines in people's environments, right? There's Windows 7 machines. Those are end of life. Windows Server 2008 R2 is rampant in the world right now. It's hard to migrate. It is hard to migrate, not just from a business financial perspective, because that is a challenge that we have to overcome also, but from just a pure like operational execution. When do you have maintenance downtimes? Are critical business applications supported on that next operating system? These are just a few of the concerns that you need to like reconcile with before you migrate. You don't just go hit the upgrade button and go to the bar and grab a pint, right? Can't be doing that. That's why vulnerability management is its own discipline in 2022. All right, what do we got?
Garrett E. to close out 35-year career. Assistant to the Director of the Defense Information Systems Agency, Army Major General Garrett E. is scheduled to retire April 28th, closing out a 35-year career. In his role at DISA, E provided critical leadership for the agency's $13 billion information technology and cybersecurity portfolio and provided IT support to the President, Secretary of Defense, Joint Chief of Staff, combatant officers, and DoD components. During the pandemic, E launched a highly popular monthly virtual lunch and learn series, DISA in the Know, to keep global DISA workforce informed of critical missions. Previously, E served as the military deputy to the Army Chief Information Officer and as the Army's Senior Information Security Officer at the Pentagon.
Okay, so I worked in the federal IT space, U.S. federal IT space for years. I know what DISA is. That's actually, it stands for like defense. The D is for defense. I forget what the ISA is. It doesn't matter. It's basically kind of like, this is how you do information security for the DoD. And, this guy, 2-star general, retiring after 35 years. Thank you for your service. That is a heck of a long ride. So I'll tell you, having worked in the federal space, DISA is good. Mostly known for the DISA STIGs. Thanks for the sub, Bentley. DISA STIGs, which are standard technical implementation guidelines. It was basically a configuration checklist on how you would configure something to be compliant with DIACAP, which is it became FISMA. It doesn't matter. It's like a U.S. government standard on what is secure configuration. DISA has moved forward a little bit in bringing information security to the foreground. Good on this guy. I will say that like what Jen Easterly is doing with CISA under DHS. If you don't know Jen Easterly, Google her. She's a rock star and she's really doing big things for our community. I would almost call her picking up the mantle of what this guy laid the foundation for and running with it. So good on him for 35 years of service. We as an organization within supporting the federal government have come a long way. And CISA is definitely running the show now. So good on that. By the way, just as a quick aside, if anyone's ever tried to implement a DISA STIG, you know that it was made in a lab without people who are working in the field. And DISA STIGs are, a great idea, but not practical in any capacity. Typically, you start applying it and you're like, oh, that broke everything. Oh, we got hold on. I got a special sounder for that one. There we go. Thank you for the membership, joining the squad. All right, guys. So that is our weekly cybersecurity headlines. If you guys are feeling sassy and you want to get some like hot takes, not just from me, but from Neil Bridges, Thursday at 4:30 p.m., we will be talking with Neil Bridges, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. He's going to come on. It's going to be much more of a free-flowing, freestyling conversation. Neil and I have, really interesting back and forths. So I hope you can join us for that. It'll be the current state of cyber affairs. So like blockchain, crypto, Olympics app, ransomware, threat actors, REvil. I don't know where it's going to go, but we're going to be doing it and it's going to be hot, 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 hot. All right, guys. Hold on. Guys, thank you so much for making these morning streams an absolute delight, an absolute pleasure. I love every second of it, and it's really because you guys make it so enjoyable. Again, if you want to share it with someone, tell them to go to this URL, and it'll dump them right in there. Join us over on the Discord if you want to keep the conversation going. A lot of great people up in there. And if not, then that's cool. Come back tomorrow at 10 a.m. Because I teach on Tuesday, Thursday. Come back at 10 a.m. and let's do another first things first, okay? So until tomorrow, y'all, be good, be safe, and we'll see you out there. Thank you.